All right. Hello and welcome everyone. Today's live stream is titled if you've never painted, you are missing out on one of life's joys. So, let me get started here. Let's go ahead and bring that image back up and curve is much more subtle. I'm trying to find the angle, a good angle for this face. Anyway, that's the title of today's live stream. We're gonna get started here without dilly-dallying. One great thing about painting is it's something that you could get good at really quickly. I really believe that it is something you get good at really quickly if you have the time to put into it. If you're willing to put in the time, you too can become a painter, an artiste, if I may. I'm gonna spray some vinegar here. So I have this recipe now. I use it to keep my cats away from my oil paint because it turns out that, they love to hang around me when I'm doing oil painting. So I spray vinegar with lemon or citrus peels inside, and this usually keeps them away. So that's what I'm doing right now, doing a little sprayage. But yes, spraying a little bit, and then here we go. There's a couple things I want to do to this painting that need to be updated. So let me see here. Pop open some supplies. And hope you're all doing wonderful on this lovely day. I'm gonna grab a bigger brush here. Nice big brush. And I feel like this pretty much, let me see, the length of the eyebrows is like that. From eyebrow to eyebrow. Which should mean the forehead to the nose. So eyebrow to eyebrow. So eyebrow to eyebrow, just measuring things. So forehead to nose. That's fairly accurate. The forehead's nose is a little bit less long than it needs to be. And then the nose, go like that. Okay, just trying to figure out some space modification of this painting a little bit. We're gonna go dip this in a bit of oil here, and then let's go with make some adjustments to this painting here. I'm gonna keep it a little bit more. We're gonna bring out her cheek a little bit. Find just the right angle for this, but I'm gonna brush in some of these highlight here. What's going on, Ashley Boyd? So good, thank you, appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in just to say that. Just evening out some, spreading out some more color areas here. Some might say I use a little too much paint, but it's all good. She almost looks transparent with all this yellow, huh? I want to capture, you know, I want to still have that natural skin tone that we're gonna build into here. But let's get some of this orange, build in some browns here. Yo, Omizu. Yes, what's up, dude? What are you up to today? Are you creating? And thank you for your ongoing patronage, Omizu. I know that during these times you have to manage your manage your accounts and things, and just grateful to be able to make work that interests you. So here we go. We're gonna go with this and just add some of this color into the hair here. And this needs to feel a bit more natural here. This thing right here. It's not supposed to be as steep of a. One thing about painting big is really getting proportions right if you're not going to enlarge your photo. Now let's get into this brown a little bit. Get this nice deep shadow right into here. And you're at work all day, to use paint or not to use paint? That is the question. Are you saying that I'm not using paint right now, or are you asking yourself that question? Yes, if you're not painting, you're missing out on one of life's greatest joys, for sure. Everyone should learn to paint. I'm trying to soften her face a little bit, so hence this area here. Trying to find a good combination of like a nice pink blush, nice pink glow here. And then let's go, this is a little too distinct here, so we're gonna go supporting me has broke the bank. Yeah, it's quite the pocketbook killer. All right, here we go. So let's see. I'm gonna find some good colors to put in here. Let's grab. Go right in here. And just getting the shape of the lips in. I'm gonna rouge up the forehead a little bit, some more. Should just load up my brush here. Load up my brush with this. Just grab a little, dip it in a little bit of oil, just to make the paint a little bit more productive. Honestly, I really enjoy painting on these bigger canvases because you really get an opportunity to like have some more fun when you paint bigger. You're painting small, you know, you're working with like such small brushes, fine details, and you know, it feels too like, just doesn't like feel like I'm having, like I'm moving my body, you know, like here's one of the reasons why I got into painting is because I felt like I needed to move parts of my body a little bit more. I know this sounds weird, but like if you spend a lot of time doing modern day work, like say being on a computer, typing away, typing notes, typing up emails, typing up notes, typing up memos, typing up Instagram posts. All those things, you know, part of your body starts to, you're like, I feel like your mind-body connection starts to kind of go. You know, you become nothing but an extension of a machine. And part of the reason why I got into painting, the thing that when I started painting, I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, the thing that really got me into it is the whole premise of disconnecting from you know, digital stuff, or at least that's part of the premise. But disconnecting from digital work as a way to like get my hands to do more stuff. I'm not being totally crystal clear right now because I'm trying to paint at the same time. trying to paint and figure this stuff out at the same time. But what I'm trying to say is, when you're, you know, in the modern world, and if, you know, if anybody gets what my babbling is about, I hope you're at least understanding and putting the pieces together. You know, sometimes you gotta like fill in the blanks of what I say rather than just hoping that I explain it because I'll forget. What I'm trying to say is, when I was like typing away at a computer, and you know, I did some digital art and I did all this other stuff, and I just felt like so disconnected, like, you know. And then I started to like do hands-on work, right? This is like being connected to that, having that mind-body connection. When you're doing tons of computer work and you're doing all these things on computers and with machines and all this stuff, I think you could lose that mind-body connection, and I wanted to get that back. And painting was just one of the ways that I found that was that made it possible. Like when I started painting, you know, my mind-body connection came back, for lack of a better phrasage. We're gonna round out this area up here a little bit. Let's grab some oil. I'm not surprised, actually. You know, this started to come together pretty quickly. I'll round that out a bit. One thing that's nice about oil painting is that, you know, you're pretty much forced to like sometimes step back. At least if you take lots of photos of your work. So, you know, a lot of times you're like forced to step back and like, you know, because you can't really finish the painting in painting right away usually, unless you're like the greatest a la Prima painter ever, and you do everything like in one sitting. But, you know, with oil painting, it takes longer to actually do the work, right? Because you got to let it dry sometimes. So you can use that to your benefit, or you can use it as a source of, you know, fear or whatever. I know some people are intimidated by oil paint because of that, because of the fact that, you know, that it requires quite a lot of drying time sometimes, that people are intimidated by it. I'm starting to lose that natural skin tone. What should I do? I think I need to mix in some blues here. A natural blue. Find like this purple again. Maybe some green here. Let's see. You know what? Let's go. Let's just go and get some coloration in here. You know, don't necessarily need to paint exactly what I see in a photo. Try to find something in between, you know. I needed some reds. I need some reds. Let's get a little bit of. Let's use our alizarin crimson, which is like a darker red. This is almost like a darker side of red. A red that's on the darker side. I guess not quite purple. I don't know how to describe it. It's not quite a quinacridone violet. Like a redder quinacridone violet. And I'm explaining these colors to myself. That's not, you know, that's probably not the best interpretation. Talk to myself a lot when I paint. It helps. It helps the process. It really does. But let's go into here. I want to keep this more red, so I'm just gonna lay this paint on. probably a better brush for this. I don't want this to be too dark, so we're gonna blend in. Get in a little bit of red in there. And then this is a really harsh section, so let's see how we can modify that. Is this accurate? I need to come up a bit more. And here we go. So let's go into here a little bit. Come into here. And I want to expand this eye out a little bit more, this little gap in the eye. I don't know what that's called, but that little part of the eye is a little too big. So let's actually work the eyes a little bit. Use a smaller brush. You can tell the difference in sizes here. This is, what size is it? This is a 10. Is that right? This is a 10. And then I don't know what this is. This is probably like a 2 or something, a 1. Well, these eyes need to be about the same length though. So that's the issue that I'm probably gonna come across here. Is these eyes need to be about the same length. So let me see here. This length is like that. That size is a little bit smaller. Really, I mean, it is almost like that. So let's grab this brush right here. We're gonna go. Oh yeah, and you know what? I can actually brush some of it away. Make it a little bit smaller just that way. And then there we go. And just an ever so light, gentle brush into here. She's starting to come along. Look at that. Look at our figure starting to come along here. It's looking good. I like it. All right. Let me grab this red. We're gonna grab some yellow and red. Hopefully find a good orange. Oof, that's a good orange. That makes a really good orange. Let me grab some of that before I lose it. Nice. Nice, bright, beautiful orange. I guess it's not even, what are the different types of oranges? I don't use oranges very much, so I don't know of all the different types of oranges. I guess this is more of a red orange than a yellow orange. It's not even orange, it's like a red. Almost like a pink. Let's keep going with this color. I really like it. It's doing a good job. It's doing the job that I need. And here we go. Go like this. And if anybody's wondering, yo, Kate. That's Northern. You came up with a new name, huh? What's up, Kate? What's new with you, dude? How goes it? What's the most interesting thing you could share in the past? I don't know. When was the last time you were here? Like 6 months ago? 3 months? 4 months? It's nice to have people that just like pop in a few months later. Because not only, I mean, it was probably only like 2 months. But it's nice to have like a YouTube channel where people just like pop in after some years and just say what's up. Like, so you start to feel like you developed a bond with art. Hey, you love creating new stuff, posting on your Instagram. Awesome, man. That's so great to hear. So great to hear, brother man. So how did that happen? What do you think was the spark that helped to revive or spark this ongoing interest? What was it that really helped you to do that this time? Alright, we're gonna go, what color is this? Oh yeah, I got distracted. I'm always getting distracted. I always do this thing where like, I say I'm gonna do one thing, but then I find a good color. I'm like, oh, that'll be a great color for this. And then I get distracted and go do that thing with that other color. Let's try to mix this into this brown right here. We're gonna go find this. We're gonna go, let's establish. And then here we go. So what's the latest and greatest? You found you've rediscovered your relationship with art. That's worth celebrating, bro. That is worth celebrating. Thank you for making sure you came in to tell us. You love creating new stuff. You had an idea for an animation for an original character. Great. I know. Yeah, I remember you doing some really cool stuff with animation. That's or like doing your own character ideas. That's awesome. So just adding a little bit of shadow here and there just to add some more naturalness to this nose. Just give this nose, just a more roundness to it. Adding some shadows in. And what I gotta do with this eye here, let's go deep into there. You know what, I can probably start to make this eye stand out a little bit now. Now that I have my That yellow ochre is very sticky right now. And this one's going to be a little bit more gray blue. Have a little bit more blue in this other eye. Yo, Aryan, look at what, oh my goodness, what is this, look at this reunion of like my early, well, I guess early as in like last year's, or a couple of years ago, the reunion of early YouTube visitors. Look at that, Aryan and Falcon, aka. We don't go by real names here for people's privacy, unless you want to. It's optional. Your privacy is of the utmost importance, so real names are optional. I hope Aryan. Honestly, I hope Aryan's not even using his real name. That's what I hope. You don't have to use your real names, people. All right, so let's see. Let's get some. How do we tighten this up here? This area. Just add like a subtle green shadow underneath the eye there. Oh no. So yeah, drawing a lot and feel closer. Amazing, dude. I mean, straight up, like if you're not drawing or doing some type of artwork, you're missing out on one of the greatest joys in life, for real. You are missing out on one of the greatest joys in life if you're not making some form of artwork. Let's grab this, I need to buy a huge tube of this blush. I love this blush. This is like a rose blush color. A rose, aka blush, aka whatever. It's like the best alternative to white for skin tone. Or not skin tone, not necessarily skin tone, but just like flesh tones, lips, certain areas, like, you know, slightly, it's like, you know, just a slightly better than white, which, you know, white can be a bit too white. And how do I make this? I'm gonna make this a redder pink. Be ramping at art like a piece of cake. Last time I saw, I was making a footballer art. football art. Which one was that? I don't remember. You might have me confused with somebody else, Ariane. Football art, really? I don't ever remember making football art. Oh, you mean are you talking about Michael Jordan? That Michael Jordan one? I see. Basketball, yes. Just trying to find the right color for these lips here. Trying to find just the right color. And let's grab this. Actually, you know what? This blush could be definitely brought down into here just to. Do I paint 24/7? No, honestly, I feel like lately I've been slacking. Lately I've been slacking on painting a little bit. If I'm being totally honest, that's how I feel. Yes. Honestly, I feel like if I don't make some type of artwork, at least like, you know, once a day, I feel like I'm slacking. That's just me though. You know, you don't have to live by that. That's not, you know, a hard fast rule or anything. It's just something personal. No, it's gonna be too light. Let's actually carve out some of these eyebrows like I was planning. Well, dude, you're like, I don't know how old you are. You don't need to say. Last time, I remember you saying that you're a very young kid. So, you know, obviously, when you have an adult, there's two things that you got to do in life, pretty much. Unless, I mean, there's way more, right? Like, obviously, your parents probably have a lot to do, taking care of you and everything. But if you're a single guy, or not a single guy, you know, if you're even in a like just a pretty chill relationship, or if you are a single guy, you have tons of time to do whatever it is that you really want. You know, got tons of time, and you really have to manage your own schedule, right? You got work, and then anything else. So if you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to make some art stuff, you know, you gotta find the time for it. But it's doable. It's possible. Basically, only have, you know, two things. One thing that's really important as an adult is work. That's like the most. It's the one thing, and then you just got to balance everything else around work, pretty much. If you do that, you can find time for whatever you're most passionate, right? Like that's why I think most adults can tend to fall out of time with their habits or their passions because they don't make time for them. Or you know what? A lot of pressure not making time, having to find the time. Yes, all right, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to paint here and explain some life lessons at the same time, but it's not quite working out. If you're a guy with no kids, you know, you could find some time to paint. It's not that hard. Have I ever had art block? Yes. But here's why I had to think about that question for a second, is because sometimes when I get art block, and it's hard to tell the difference sometimes, right? Sometimes when I get art block, I have to ask myself if it's really art block or if I'm just procrastinating. And sometimes the answer is like, I'm just procrastinating, you know? I just don't feel like painting in that moment, right? Like I'm just procrastinating. That's what some of my art block consists of. Is just, you know, if I'm being honest, you know, I'm procrastinating. I'm not actually blocked. I just don't feel like doing something. Because, like, you know, like, on a daily basis, I'll, like, come up with ideas, you know? I'll come up with ideas to paint. I'll come up with ideas. But then, you know, so much time is spent thinking about it. And then, you know, I'm like, oh, no, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do this. So, you know, for me, I think the worst problem, the bigger problem, isn't art block. It's really procrastination. Because, you know, you're a creative person, right? Like, you don't really have art block in the sense of you've probably got like 100 ideas you want to do, right? You want to make art, you want to do all these things, and you know, I don't really think it's a block as much as it is just procrastinating. I think more so procrastination is my issue than real bona fide art block. Right, yeah, having one idea that really fascinating, intrigued by. But you know what? Here's the thing: is, you know, I'm an adult. Like, you know, I feel like it sounds weird that I have to state that thing, but as an adult, as a, you know, a man in his 30s, as a man in his 30s, I realize that, you know, this could just be a hobby. Right? But if I want to be good at something, I can't just like dabble in it, right? I can't just allow myself to not do something, you know, because because I don't like the idea. I guess if that makes, I can't have like, you have to like reduce the amount of obstacles that you have, I guess is what I'm trying to say. As an adult, if you want to get into something, right? Like if you're, young, you have all the time in the world, and I still consider myself young, but for the sake of thought here, whether you're 5, 15, 30, whatever your age is, yeah, I just have to, it's one of those things. Like you have to, sometimes you have to do the things that you don't want to do, and I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. That's the main idea that I'm trying to express here. You just got to do it. You can't let, you just got to push through it sometimes. So yes, I do get art block. Yeah, just being in general, just being like older, you kind of got to realize that if you want to get good at something, you got a lot of work to do, because it may sound weird hearing this, but after the age of like 20 something, people don't care about you as much. And what I mean by that is, like, at a certain point, I'm not saying that 30 is old. I'm just saying that, like, by the time you're 30, like, you really gotta be on your own. You know what I mean? You really gotta, like, figure stuff out real quickly. Because you just gotta hustle, So, I don't know. Does that all make sense? I'm not the greatest with my words. I apologize. I'm trying to explain something while painting, and I don't know if it's necessarily. If it's necessary clicking or whatever. All right, let's see. We're gonna add a little highlight on the lip here. Yeah, okay, you said you got it. That's cool. Yeah, like it's just one of those things, And you should be working, if you're passionate about something, I think you should be working hard at it no matter what your age is. But definitely at 30, it's like, how many more paintings, right? Like break down, here's what I do, and this isn't like real, this isn't like something you should follow. Not every artist would agree with this or whatever. But here's something I do. It's gonna sound very very morbid, I guess. But something that I do is I estimate how many years that I'm gonna live. So, say you're 30, 80. Say you think you're gonna live until you're 80, 90. Maybe with today's technology, if you're 15 years old, you might even live until 150 years old. So here's something that motivates me: is I take however many years I'm gonna live, and I don't feel like sharing that out loud, but take however many years you're gonna live. So let's just say the average age 90 years old. Is it 80 or 90? Alexa, what's the average age in America?
As of 2017.
Now, Alexa, what is the average age that people live until in America?
The average lifespan of an American is 76 years for men and 81 years for women.
All right, so let's just say 76, and we're gonna be optimistic. That's not the age I use, but you know, be optimistic here and say, let's say 76. So what I usually do is I take however many years that is, and I subtract my age, so 35, and I say, oh, I'm 35. I have about 40 something hypothetical numbers, right? You got 40 something more years to live. How many paintings can you pump out in those 40 years? If you're only making one painting a year, you're only going to be making 40 paintings. You're never going to like get good that way. I mean, you can have fun. It could be a hobby, and that's great too. Or it could be a professional hobby. Something if you want to go something a little more professional. But, you know, that's just what I do. I'm like, how many paintings do I want to put out in my lifetime? Do I only want to put out 50 paintings, 100 paintings, 1,000 paintings? How many? So I think helps to ask yourself that question. What's up with this nose here? Why is this shadow so hard? Harsh shadow. Let's blend that in a little bit. Mizu says that's sad. Well, I don't think that's sad. It's a little like, you know, it's a little bit like a little bit serious for you know, just casual conversation, but like, you know, I think it's an important number. Here, think about it this way. You know what inspired that? It's real talk. Let's say you visit your parents once a year. So this is something I saw on LinkedIn. This person wrote it, but let's say you see your parents once a year. And how old are your parents now? And for anybody, like just however old your parents are, you see your parents once a year. If your parents are, say, I don't know, whatever the average age was, 75 and 80, let's just say 75 and 80. I mean, if you only see your parents once a year and they're 65 and 70, you're probably only going to see them 10 more times. So that's pretty wild, right? Like it really puts things into perspective. So when I heard that, I thought that was really powerful and really important. Take care of your family, of course. Oh yeah, and like earlier I was saying, oh, when you turn 30, like no one cares and you really gotta like push yourself. The other thing is like you really gotta prioritize. Other priorities come up, right? Like when 20 years from now, Northern, I don't know how old you are, I'm just gonna guess, you know, let's just say 20 years from now, things are gonna change, dude. You're gonna meet people, you're gonna make friends, you're gonna have work, and then, you know, art may or may not be the thing. But I think as a young kid, art sounds great because it's like one of the few things that you could just actually just do on a regular basis, right? Like you can't go. I mean, you know what? There's a lot of things that kids could do, but like as a kid, as a young adult or whatever, I think art is just like such a fun thing because you just have so much time. How do you fill your time? Sports, art, television, video games, TikTok. I don't know, all these things, and I think. TikTok, video games. You know, you spend your time doing those things. Yeah, artwork. Was I going somewhere with that? I can't really remember. You just gotta manage your time. You know, all these things. You gotta manage your time, but also you find priorities. It's okay to fall out of love with art, man. Don't feel like it has to be for you. When something is for you, you kind of know it. Like I grew up playing piano, and I just knew I was never gonna become a pianist. I just knew. Like I played a lot of piano. I was forced to do it. But, you know, I always knew deep down that like I didn't have a talent for music. I like music, but I just didn't have a talent for it, you know? I came to understand that and accept that. So now, sadly, what I didn't do was try to actually find my talents, which, you know, if you do find something that you love, aka artwork, sports, whatever, and you find that you're pretty decent at it, then you should totally stick with that. Don't not do it. All right. Well, Kate has made the promise that he's not going to stop. So that's it. So Mises says art is work. Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's the other thing, right? Like, you know, as a grown person, right? I think at some point there's that choice that you have to make of whether it's a career. As it like, and when I say career, I don't mean fine art career. I'm differentiating between fine art and the gallery game, and like career and commercial art as like a video game concept artist or something. Speaking of which, you know, AI aside, something to consider. Something to consider. Yeah. Like you gotta decide whether you're gonna make it your thing, a business, a career, or whether it's gonna be, or you're gonna be a fine artist. I think that's the other decision is, are you pursuing fine art or are you pursuing art as a, you know, in video games, art in television, commercial design making. I don't know, whatever that all means to you. I'm just gonna try to blend this. Soften some of that. Let's see. Let me grab a bigger brush here. Art making is art. Oh yeah. So art is can definitely be work. You know. So that could be a tough choice for some people. Like, you definitely find people who are doing it commercially and they may not find it as fun anymore. I've met some cinematographers, you know. I met cinematographers who are like, once they're done with being a famous cinematographer, they just want to get into painting. Because I think painting and like, you know, the visual idea, the cinematography element kind of works together. They actually go well together, right? Cinematography and visual painting. All right, grab a much smaller brush now. You know what I love about these painting this size is, so this is, I don't know if you can tell, this painting is 24 by 36. So 36 inches across, 24 inches down. And I say this again and again a lot when I paint small, is when I paint small, like, you know, if I was to use this brush, this would be the size of an eye, right? This brush would be the size of an eye. But as you can see, I can add like little fine details that just give a subtle. I get to do these like little subtle things that I'm about to share right now. Hopefully this brush works okay. It's a little bit, I haven't used it in a while. But I can do this like subtle little transition here that I wouldn't be able to do. Am I getting worse at explaining things when on my live streams? Sometimes I can't tell if I'm, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm getting worse at explaining things when I'm trying to stream and talk at the same time. But I hope people at least get the gist of what I'm saying. Understand the main idea of the message, right? There we go. A little bit of this. Every pupil has a ring around it. Or I guess, is this a pupil or is it an iris? I don't really know, but pupil is the little black thing in the center. So the iris is everything around it. I'm just gonna leave this for now. I'm not gonna darken it too much, but at least want to give it the look. All right, hey, take care, Northern. Did I crop my reference to fit the canvas? A little bit, yes. Not totally. I could have done a better job at that, but I did crop my reference, yes. And you know what I have an issue with right now? This area right here. Right here. I need to make some modifications. Actually, no, this could actually go into here. Let me grab some of these reds here. Just to identify this area a little better. And maybe what I just got to do is I need to adjust the hair here. So maybe bring in the hair a little bit closer. And I think what needs to happen is I need like some blending in this section. Just feels like there's too much going on here, too much brush work. Let's see, what can we do? Let's go. Yeah, this area is looking really weird to me. But here's what I can also do is, fortunately, this reference is adjustable, which means we can actually play with our white here. I can bring our white area up closer to the eyes here to make it disappear a little bit. This is cheating. Not really. Not cheating. I'm just painting over. And by the way, I wouldn't recommend doing it this exact way. I want to get more spreadability with this. More spreadable on our white here. We're going to throw in some yellows. Nice, juicy, thick paint, yes. Let's go ahead and blend in this a little bit more. Grab some more white. Grab some more oil. So constantly just using the oil just to really blend it down. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 10:32 a.m.
I think that looks better, yeah. I think just that extra bit helped to reduce the make this hair area look a little bit less awkward. I don't think I'm gonna paint into full detail of this. But we will go, let's add some of this color into here. You know, I shouldn't say this, but I'm actually pretty impressed at how this came out. You know, this is my first time painting a head this large. And although I won't like, if I tell you who this is supposed to be, all of you are gonna be like, that looks nothing like her. That looks nothing like Lady Gaga. I know exactly what y'all are gonna say. So that's why I've been hesitating to say who it was, but anyway, I don't care at this point. I'm actually quite happy with how this is turning out. Even if it doesn't look like her, it looks, I think it's a beautiful painting. But, you know, it's like, sometimes I feel like artists aren't allowed to, like, with all the the highly critical artists on the internet that I find, sometimes it almost feels like you're not allowed to like your own paintings. Like, you can't like it too much. You'd like it just a little bit, just enough to, you know, show that you like it, but you can't like it too much. And blend this into the space around it a little bit. I don't want the things to be too harsh. Some of the lines to be too harsh. One rule that I've started to live by is from a book called The Art Spirit by Robert Henry. I forget who recommended it to me. Someone posted on one of my comments to read it. And sometimes when people suggest things to me, I actually listen. But someone recommended the book. Ooh, this chin's looking a little bit. It's looking a little bit rectangular. I don't want that. I don't want it to be too rectangular. So let's start to shape it out around the edge here. I want to carve around it. Carve out this chin shape here. So round it out like this. It's actually looking pretty good. All right. You know what? I think now. Oh, what is this giant gap of color? I got to fill that space in before I move on to the next thing. I need to do something about this because it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that that's just there. So let me find a blue. I'm gonna grab blue. I'm gonna grab this green, yellow color, this off green blue, and we're gonna use this for a shadow in this little area right here. I need to add one little characterizing dimple right here. I'm gonna go right over here, right by the lip. Let's see, maybe I could use this and start to put in some of the hair, eyelashes a little better. So this piece is gonna come out. We're gonna go. And then we're going to go on this eye. You know, I don't want to do too much with the eyelashes on the bottom just yet. By the way, Lady Gaga is probably one of my favorite singers, musicians. Lady Gaga, Lana Del Rey. You know, I really like those like super like just operatic, modern operatic voices. Lady Gaga, Lana Del Rey, what's her name? I already forgot her name. The woman who sings Frozen. Idina Menzel. Like, I just love super operatic voices in music. That's my that's what I like in music. So here we go. We need to reduce the shadow in here, and what we're going to do to reduce that shadow is we're going to find a good fleshy color, darker fleshy tone. We're actually going to wrap up in a minute, take a break before moving on to our next space, but I'm going to go, oops, that's a little too bright. I don't want the black. Or it's not black. It's actually burnt umber, which is a really, really dark brown. You know what? Maybe I can actually add some of this color. Just add a variety of color into her lips here. add some more texture and design. Look at that. All right, I'm really liking how this is coming out. These lips, though, are looking a little bit flat. I'm not really liking this flatness, so I'm trying to think, what can I do to unflatten a little bit? You know, give it some texture, I guess. Lips just look kind of flat, like. Yeah, I gotta add some texture and detail. And that's one great thing about painting and painting on the live streams. You constantly like look back and see what you're seeing, see what the camera sees, and then, you know, compare, because comparing like a reverse image kind of way. This part, let's blend in this part a little bit. Let's bring in our violet here. We're just gonna add a little bit of our fleshy violet. We're gonna try to blend this in. And all right, well, so people, we're gonna take a little break here. Take a little break. Probably come back tonight. Gotta do a little bit of work today. Not a full day of work. Just a little bit. Half day. That said, everybody, thanks for being here. Thanks for popping in. I like these. So I think it's very exciting to have a lot of pop-in visitors who, you know, can't watch at my usual stream time, which is like at night. Because when I used to stream, when I started streaming, I would stream more in the mornings. But I've started to do less of that. So I've lost a few viewers, but anyway, see, that's one thing that's not good about viewing on camera. You see some of the issues, but anyway, let's go ahead and call this a wrap for now. Take care.